On this episode, we're diving into our Main Street Magic Mailbag for part 27 of our listener Q&A series. Today's January 31st, 2025, and this is episode 742 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I am your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys! Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, in addition to live streams from the parks and our weekly live show, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Want to get a free Disney e-gift card up to $250? Book a qualifying Walt Disney World or Disneyland room or package through our preferred travel partner, MEI-Travel, and get a Disney e-gift card valued up to $250. This offer is valid for bookings made between January 2nd and February 28th, 2025 for travel check-in dates through August 31st, 2025. Certain restrictions apply. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
Okay, so today we are finally finishing up all those questions everybody asked.
Yeah, thank you all for being patient. If
Yes.
your question had not been answered before, it will get answered on this one.
Yep.
If you didn't catch, it's been like 2 weeks now. So we are getting to it. We had so much stuff going on in between, and then this was a perfect time because we don't go back for another 2 weeks.
Oh.
So, but I'm
Are you
looking forward
sad?
to that one. Yeah, but we're busy. So if you said right now after we record, do you want to go to Disney? I would, but we don't have quite as much going on this weekend as we do next weekend before we go. So anyway, we're going to get into these questions. There's not a ton this one, but I think some of them are going to take a little bit longer potentially to answer.
I agree.
And it's the reason we saved some of them for this final Q&A episode at this time. And then we'll do another one in a couple months. But let's go with the first one, Rhonda. You want to read it?
Yes, and this is from Cassidy, and she asked, if you could retheme any ride in all four parks, what would you retheme and to what and why?
This is where you make people angry.
Because
usually.
Are y'all ready? I'm going to start off making everybody mad.
Go for it.
Small World.
Yeah, I'd put that at Magic Kingdom. That would be my pick. I was actually thinking of one in each park.
And I would do Tangled.
Yes.
Because it's right there by the bathrooms.
Yep.
And it just would flow right into it.
Agreed.
And it's a boat ride, and you could just do, I don't know, different scenes of the different.
I mean, the lantern scene alone, as a finale.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this for years. And I know, Small World is classic.
Oh, 100%.
It's an OG for Disney World, but Walt always said he didn't want the parks to be a museum, that things will progress. I think it would be, I think in these instances, because I'll talk about Space Mountain even, I do think it's potentially important to leave one version of a ride like this or Space Mountain in one of the parks. You know what I mean? Like keep Small World and Disneyland forever.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean the rest of us have to do that, right? And even out in Disneyland, they make changes. And overseas, they'll make some changes. Like when they do the Marvel overlay and they do holiday overlays, we just get the same Small World for decades and decades and nothing ever changes. So I think Tangled would be perfect there. Yeah. And like you mentioned now, I'm not overviewing a map right now, but way back when we were doing Theme Park Shuffle, when I was doing that with David and Logan, we created bars and restaurants in Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
That actually originally is how Theme Park Shuffle started here on Main Street Magic when I had them as guests. And I created in Ugly Duckling. They're basically between the Tangled bathrooms and Small World. There is a gap, and behind there is land. Now, I don't know if that's going to become Villain's Land, part or what, but you could rope in a walkway there that could potentially then lead into Villain's Land, and what a great introduction that might be with the Snuggly. I'm sorry, I said ugly duckling. Snuggly duckling, right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that could almost be. I still think it would always be cool, in a sense that Epic Universe is doing these portals, right?
Yeah, that is cool.
I think it would be cool to do something like that with some of these new lands, almost the way that Galaxy's Edge has with its main entrance from the Grand Avenue area. Right?
Yeah.
So you do something like, you couldn't obviously force people to go through a bar or restaurant. But I still think it would be neat to have some sort of interaction there. So you're literally, maybe you ride this new Tangled overlay or ride or whatever it's going to become in Small World. You go take a leak, and then you walk you walk through this pathway, and there's the Snuggly Duckling. Whether you stop in or not is fine, but beyond that, through the woods is all of a sudden Villain's Land.
Yeah.
So something like that, I think,
because then
cool.
Mother Gothel could be back there.
Exactly. So you've now kind of made this seamless entrance, and everybody wants to talk. This is going so off base now, but surprise, surprise. Everybody always wants to talk about these new lands and whether they fit, whether they don't fit. I love the original Magic Kingdom, the way that it was designed, and the way that the hub and each land perfectly flows into the next without you even noticing.
Yeah.
You see a lot of that on the Keys to the Kingdom tour. They explain the way that the colors change.
Yep.
They explain the way that the music changes, that the foliage, that everything changes. For example, as you walk from the hub into Adventureland, right?
Right.
And so I hope that they maintain that.
I'm sure they will.
Especially at Magic Kingdom.
I'm sure they will.
I do think Pandora does a good job
Yeah.
of a great seamless transition. So I hope they don't lose that.
I'm sure they won't. I mean,
Space Mountain, I know it just celebrated 50 years. It is, I believe, currently the longest, or not longest, oldest running roller coaster in Florida.
Oh.
I believe it was the first indoor coaster in Florida.
Okay.
It's got a ton of history. It's 50 now. It's time to retire. Gut that thing and put something else in there.
What would you put in there?
I don't know, because
what would you retheme it? Because you got Tron right next door.
I know, and we're still in the spot where Tomorrowland doesn't know what it is, and that's going to be on the chopping block at some point. Now, that's probably not going to be till 2030 or something, because we're most likely going to get some form of the Tropical Americas in 27. I don't know, Monsters or Cars in 28. One of the others, whichever doesn't come in 28, will probably come in 2029. Villain's Land in 2030. One, we know that Disney takes a while to build things. Two, one of the reasons they take a while to build things is because they want something each year that's huge.
Yeah.
They're not going to open, and plus you have to do all the work, obviously.
Oh, right.
But, they're not going to open Cars Land and Villains Land at the same time. They're not going to open Tropicals America and Monsters Inc. Land at the same time.
No.
They need this big marketing push every year. It's what they've done every year forever.
Right.
So Space Mountain, I don't know. It would all depend what happens with Tomorrowland. Whatever eventually happens with Marvel and Superhero Island over at Islands of Adventure in the contract, if at any point, and maybe Disney's waiting for it, I don't know. If at some point, and it's got to happen at some point, they are able to get those theme park rights back from Universal. Mm-hmm. And from my understanding, a lot of it has to do with the way that Universal keeps up that land.
Okay.
They're not allowed to, for example, retheme the Hulk coaster into an Iron Man coaster, I don't believe.
Okay.
They have to keep it the Hulk coaster, but I believe the contract also says something about keeping up with it and the maintenance. So you can't let that land just go to junk, you know what I mean? So they have to constantly keep up, but they can't necessarily do anything new. At some point, maybe Universal just says, you know what? Now we got Epic Universe. We've got all these IPs and properties that we can put into the parks. We're going to do away with Marvel, and they bring that over to Tomorrowland and they do the Stark Expo. I think would be the most perfect thing.
Tron would still fit in there?
You could make Tron fit in there. It's going to be the Stark Expo, so it's kind of all about technology and future, and it's kind of a World's Fair for Marvel in a sense. Okay. It's showing you what's new, what's possible.
What about the carousel, of progress? I like that one. We should write it.
I mean,
we should have written it the last time we were there.
If you really want, then you still find a way to retheme it slightly, and it can still it can still fit perfectly in there. You just probably have to update some of the scenery because it can still fit in with the world of tomorrow, which is what the Stark Expo would all be about.
Okay.
So I think there's something to do there.
Okay.
If we real quick were to go to other parks.
Oh, I don't have anything in mind. So if you do, you can.
This isn't a re-theme. It's a do something with the Wonders of Life Pavilion, which was supposed to be the Disney Play Pavilion over between Cosmic Rewind and Mission Space area, right? The big, huge dome used to be the Festival Center.
Oh, yeah.
It was going to be the Disney Play Pavilion. Yeah. That went away. We don't know what's going on with it. Turn it into Wakanda. You know, that's always been something that people have floated around.
Oh,
Turn that into a Wakanda. You could put a ride in there. You could put a show in there. You can put whatever you want in there, right?
Okay.
I think over at Hollywood, it's not so much of a re-theme of a ride as much it is to do something with Launch Bay. You know, we were all really hoping that's where Monsters Inc. Land was going to go.
Well, and The Little Mermaid hasn't even come back yet.
No, but they did take down the signage in the marquee, which means they are going to be ready to install a new one because it's supposed to be summer of 2025. That and the Villain Show over in Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy are supposed to be summer of 2025.
Okay.
For Disney, that's anywhere between March and 2028. So, you know, so we'll kind of see, but do something with Launch Bay. There's so much real estate there, right?
Oh, I think there's a lot of real estate everywhere.
There is.
There
is a lot.
Just like Stitch's Great Escape and
correct.
That whole building.
And from what we recently learned, they cannot currently do anything with it because there is an asbestos problem that for them to go in and remove it all and gut it so they could put something new in there is not worth it compared to tearing the whole thing down and starting from scratch, which means you now got to get the people mover involved. So that is a huge project. It's not as simple as when they went from the alien encounter to Stitch's Great Escape.
Right.
Now we've got problems that they have to take care of over there. I think if you were to go to Animal Kingdom, I know I'll probably get a lot of flack for this, and I don't know what Joe Rohde would think. You go ahead and take the train in Rafiki's Planet Watch and you turn it into Zootopia.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can even look at the new show in the Tree of Life and you theme that around the opportunity to then visit Zootopia. So I think that could actually work as long as they keep the conservation portion of it intact, you know, the way that they did with Pandora. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's all about. Then I think you can do that and make it fit and make it work.
Yeah.
So we'll see how those types of things go. But those are the ones that are always just so fun to like think about and dream about and, you know, armchair imagineer.
And I would love, and speaking of that, I would love to be in, like, just to listen, to not like talk about anything, but just to listen to the Imagineers and like, and see what like goes on behind all that. And right? Like, would they be like, oh yeah, we've been talking about this for years, or probably. I mean, you know, and then like, you know, we all get older. Like the older I'm getting, the sadder I get because I'm like, will I see things in my lifetime? Yeah. And it saddens me because I know I won't. Yeah. So then I think like my kids, like if, you know, here you're the streamer and saying this, well, then like if we told our kids, like, is that somebody comes in and they're like, all right, you know, Buckaroo or little Junior, let me tell you what I don't know. I'm just talking about kids. I don't know what to call them. But
have you ever called a child Buckaroo?
Maybe. I don't know.
Were you working at a Wild West saloon? Why would you call a child Buckaroo?
I don't
think that's ever. I've never heard you even say the word.
Anyways, you come in, you're like, Junior, this is what we've been talking about, and this is what's going on, and then let's see and then, you know, like, I don't know, like, it just, makes me curious.
Oh, I think it'd be amazing to be in the room where it happened and again, listen to these things. I mean, somebody I'm sure can trace it back, and I could after this. How far back does the hanging door coaster, you know, go? A long, long time. Now, forever it was, would they retheme Rock and Roller Coaster to Monsters Inc. and make it some sort of hanging door coaster, whatever thing. So that idea has been around forever, you know, so you're right. Right now, there are plans, discussions. There is something somewhere on paper about what they're going to do with Tomorrowland, what they're going to do with Launch Bay. expansions that are going to happen. You know, I mean, Iger has said the billions that they're going to put into parks and resorts and experiences. You know, that's not just with these projects that have been announced at the last D23 throughout the parks throughout the world. You know, that's looking way, way ahead. So I guarantee the next decade or more, they've got something in mind, you know, and I bet that's the other thing. I bet there's a lot of opportunities to go back to the roller decks, you know, and go, wait, what do we do with Launch Bay? Well, here's 5 ideas we've had in the past 20 years.
Right.
Let's now start to flesh those out and see what really fits and what works.
Yeah.
I love it. I agree. I would give anything to just be a fly on the wall in one of these decision meetings. It'd be amazing to be in there when they're developing and building and figuring things out. But it'd be so cool to just be in the room when they're discussing, like, what do we do with Launch Bay?
Right.
That'd be amazing.
Yep.
All right, we're going to move on to Kirby. Said, I would love to know more about Memory Maker Photo Pass. We have a big family trip booked for end of February with parents. I'm glad we got this one out there.
Oh, yeah.
Sister and her 2 children, and obviously myself, husband, and daughter, and thinking about purchasing for our week-long trip. Any advice or insight would be helpful in how it works. Let's start. Do you think that Memory Maker Photo Pass is worth it?
I would say it just depends on what you're doing. And
Disagree. It's 100% worth it.
Oh.
I wouldn't second guess it, especially for a week with that group. I wouldn't even second guess getting it.
No, I guess I was like I guess I was second guessing and thinking, like, are you completely focused on more rides and stuff than you are like meeting people? But even rides now have a lot to do with pictures and stuff. So
you got Photo Pass on rides. You got Photo Pass for character meet and greets. You've got Photo Pass all around parks, you know, from everywhere in front of the icons to each park.
That's
to just
true. Yeah,
all around.
Okay.
I mean,
you're right. Sorry.
And
I take that back. Ask me again.
Yeah. Do you think Memory Maker Photo Pass is worth it?
Absolutely.
See, we agree. It's one of those things you do have to think. Now, I will say this. You do have to make sure you get out of it what you're putting into it, because these do expire, right?
Yes, they do.
If you do not download them, you could be out of luck. If you do not do something with them, if you don't print some for home, if you don't, put some on your social media, then it's kind of like, why are you bothering?
Right.
But make sure you take advantage of it. You can certainly use your cell phone and you can hand it to a PhotoPass photographer and they will take it. I can guarantee you it is not the same.
No, it's not.
Because with this, you're getting, again.
I mean, you can't hand it to him and go on a ride. And
no,
depending with, your sister and the 2 children, depending on those 2 children's ages and when the last time they came to Disney, your daughter, depending, you get these pictures of their faces, and if this is the first time they've ridden it, it's amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So, I would definitely do that.
The only time I would maybe not do it is if you just have like a 1-day trip, a 2-day trip.
Yeah, and this is a whole week.
This is a week. This is with a whole big family. You get 40 plus character greeting areas that take photos. Some of those come from a wooden box, but
it's still
that
better
one,
than nothing.
That one you might want to also back up with handing a cast member your cell phone.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah.
15 attraction photos.
Wow.
And then you've got 100 plus Disney magic shots. That includes the photo effects, them putting characters in your hand or on the ground and you reacting to them. That includes those 360 photos, the Zoom photos.
Those are cool.
Those are amazing. So I think it's completely worth it. Go ahead. You buy it 3 days in advance and you save $25.
Nice.
You get it for $185. The 1 day is $75. So if you were going for 1 day, I don't know that I would spend it on that one.
It depends. To me, I feel like it would depend on where you're going.
Yeah.
If you're going to Magic Kingdom,
100%, that's probably worth it. Yeah. If you're going to Animal Kingdom, maybe not.
Yeah.
Epcot maybe might not be worth it.
But depending, like right now with Festival of the Arts, you might want to because of all the art you can get into.
But even those aren't guaranteed to have a PhotoPass photographer in front of them all the time.
Correct, but a lot of them do.
They do. Yeah.
Like I've seen.
Yeah. So, I think it's 100% worth it, in those instances. So I would definitely suggest you get it. Remember, you only have to get it for one person in your group.
Oh, yes.
You know, like
100%.
the way that we do the PhotoPass add-on with our annual pass, just Rhonda has it.
And you
don't need to pay for me.
You just have to scan your Magic Band or your ticket or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And then just download it immediately.
Yeah, and I think
what
that's
I've done.
Yeah, I think that's the best bet. And we get the notice, you know, ours lasts for a year.
Yes.
But I'll get the notice that's like, your photos are about to expire from January 30th of 2024. And I go, okay. I already downloaded them at some point and probably put them somewhere that I can view them again.
Correct.
So just, make sure you definitely take advantage of all that. All right. We're going to move on to James Doyle, who had several questions that I wanted to use for this one.
Yeah.
I think we tackled a couple last episode because James had a bunch of wonderful, wonderful questions. He is our big Be Nice to Cast member supporter.
Nice.
Such a good guy. So he starts with, what 2 countries would you add to the World Showcase, and what potential attractions would you go along with them?
We've talked about this, I feel like, a long time ago.
Yeah, several times probably.
Because I remember for sure, because I'd say something and you'd be like, that's not a country. And I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. I mean, I think Greece, Australia would be good. Any of those would be good.
Yeah, I said Australia. I do remember saying Australia for sure. And I don't know what kind of ride
the attraction part is hard because
we've not been there.
Well, you can't focus. You can't really focus on the country and then pick an attraction to go with it because it's going to be IP based. Let's be honest, right?
Ooh,
so you have to pick a movie and then let the country go along with it.
Hawaii.
Okay, and do Lilo and Stitch?
Absolutely.
That's not a country, that's a state.
Right, well, see? I told you.
Right. But you could do, you could still bring a Polynesian area. Now, I know we've got the Polynesian, but not everybody gets to go there. Not everybody gets to stay or visit, and they don't have an attraction.
Yeah.
So you could certainly look at doing a Polynesian area, which encompasses tens of thousands of islands.
Oh, yeah.
So you can pull, you can pull from all of those,
crazy.
Including a Hawaiian roller coaster.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I was thinking.
So I think that would be really good. I'm trying to think of what else would be really good. If you went to some sort of, I feel like, Mayan, South American, maybe Brazilian type of culture, and the pull the lever coaster from Emperor's New Groove, and Kronk and Yzma.
Speaking of that, you sent me this amazing chalk art.
Oh,
Did you just die when you saw that? Like, were you like, man, I wish I was there?
Yeah, so if you listen to our Festival of the Arts, they had the Hulk one at that time where you basically got to stand within this 3D art. And it's the one where you look at it from the side and you go, that looks awful. And then you look at it from the right spot and you go, holy moly. And it had Hulk holding you upside down. Mm-hmm. This one, our friend Omar is the one who posted it that I saw. This one has the coaster getting ready to make the drop, and then behind it's another coaster cart that you get to go sit in, basically. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. So
you got to sit on top of the chart?
You did.
Chalk art?
Yeah, you get to sit right there on top of the chalk art, and you get to be a part of it.
Wow.
So super cool. Yeah. But yeah, I think you really have to almost work backwards. You have to think of what IP and what ride would I want, and then go, well, here's the country that it represents.
Right.
So let's go.
That makes sense.
You know? Or just bring back some of the original ideas. There was supposed to be Germany was supposed to have a boat ride. What was it? Japan was supposed to have Mount Fiji ride. I think it was going to be a coaster. And then
what happened to all this? And do they have the land to do this?
Yeah, they do.
I
believe they built the building. Again, this is just trying to go back in my own Rolodex in my brain, which is a weird place.
And it's a weird Rolodex.
I'm pretty sure they have the building in place for Germany. They just never built in it, and it's used for storage and training and warehousing and stuff.
That makes sense.
The Mount Fiji one was had an issue with the film company that makes film. And so there was some sort of, I think, sponsorship fall through or some sort of whatever. But there was supposed to be a lot more going through out there.
That's crazy.
Like, I'd like to see I don't know what it would be. I'd like to see a proper ride in Canada. I mean, or the UK and bring Alice in Wonderland to the UK or Mary Poppins like we were promised at one point.
Yeah.
So for me, okay, let's just go off topic again a little bit real quick again. If you had the choice of adding 2 new complete countries, but they would not have any attractions in them, or adding 2 attractions to 2 of the current countries, which would you choose? So would you rather go for 2 whole new countries that you're going to get food and culture and shopping, but no ride and no additional rides in Epcot and World Showcase, or they put in the Mary Poppins ride, they put in the Germany
Yeah,
dark
I would
ride.
do that.
I think so too. I'd take
because
the attractions.
I feel like when Epcot was like being fixed with Moana and then all that, I just feel like there's not much to do.
There's not. But Epcot relies
sad.
heavily on festivals.
Right.
You know, Epcot isn't trying to rely on all these attractions and rides. And if you really look at adding new countries, I don't know if this is part of the holdup, but almost throughout the year, you can still try food from most of those countries because of the festivals. You know what I mean? You know,
Right,
you've got the Hawaiian booths. You know, you
Right,
have
that's true.
usually a
You
booth
have
around Australia,
yeah.
you know, in Greece and things like
Right,
that, depending on the
right.
festival.
Right.
So I think if you added new attractions to what's already there, would be the way to start. Then you look at potentially expanding.
Right.
You know, every D23, there's a rumor that Brazil is coming. Right? There's
Why?
I think there's at least, it's just the one that is around. There's at least, I think, 2 full pads of land that are available for countries. At least 2, if not more.
Wow.
So, and then you do have the African outpost, which I believe encompasses one of those areas that really isn't necessary because of the fact that we have Animal Kingdom.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? So that even could be completely reverted into
100%.
something else.
100%.
And I wouldn't even hate if that turned into Africa or India. And I know we get a lot of that in Animal Kingdom and at Animal Kingdom Lodge, but again, you then have to go there.
Right.
I'm okay if I have to visit those locations in multiple parks, so we'll see whatever comes about. All right, James also asked, build a meal. You can have 1 appetizer, 1 entree, and 1 dessert. They all have to be from different restaurants.
Oh,
I'm trying to get back in my head. Right now, I'm going to go appetizer. I'm probably going to go to, oh man, I don't know, Walulu.
Wasubi.
That masubi was so good and so unexpected. Dessert, the first thing that pops into my mind, and I would never take time and probably come up with this on my own, but it's the first one that pops into my mind, and that's that almond cheesecake from Narcoossee's.
Okay.
I don't know why that's just in my mind. The other appetizer I could go with, if you count it as an app, is the lobster bisque from Narcoossee's.
Oh,
right?
That would be my appetizer.
Okay, but then you can't have their dessert.
Right, I don't want their dessert.
Where are you going for an entree? What is that? I
would probably go to Canada and get the steak with the risotto.
Oh, okay, that's a really good one in Le Cellier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm thinking either the steak from Flying Fish, or while it is not my favorite steak on property, it's in the top 5. Tiffin's Surf and Turf with the steak and those scallops.
That was good. You love that. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
I actually think that would be my entree.
And I'm trying to think of dessert, and I can't right now except
Wait.
the bubble
What about the chicken pasta? Oh my God, what's the name of it at Topolino's? You wouldn't go with that one for your entree? The rigatoni?
That is good.
You love that thing.
I love the risotto more, though. And a steak.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like a good steak with the
I get
lobster.
that.
Having the lobster bisque soup
What an
from
introduction to
Yeah.
a steak in a, right?
And then the steak from Le Cellier and a
God, that sounds
risotto.
good.
And then dessert. I don't know. Like,
What about that
That's-
peanut butter banana chocolate domey thing with the candied nuts from Sanaa?
that was good.
That was
I'm just
really
trying to
good.
think of what I've loved. And honestly,
Let's be honest. You're not even going to a sit-down restaurant. You're going to frickin'
Ice cream.
ice cream truck at
100%.
Animal Kingdom. Yeah.
and I would hope the bubble gum would be there. Oh my
gosh,
God.
if they bring bubblegum
I
soft serve.
I so just want to go to Publix and see if they have bubblegum ice cream. I don't
I'm
think
sure they do, but it's not going to taste like that, I don't think.
Oh my
And you
God.
need that soft serve consistency.
and the cone and the nerds
Yeah.
on top. Like, I just want to go back to get that.
What will you do if we get on the Destiny and one of the rotational soft
Is
serves
bubblegum
is
soft serve?
Will you lose your mind?
Yes. And I will literally just eat it every single day, multiple times,
Yeah.
because you can just get a little bit.
Right.
Like, it's not like.
Yeah, you can even get a bite or two in a cup.
Correct.
And just move along.
Right.
So
It's not like I'm like literally getting a giant cone every time. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I could literally, pull down the lever for 1, 2, 3, pull it up, and then that's what I eat, and that's what I'm done.
Why are those not themed to Yzma and Kronk? Those ice cream stations on the ships, and pull the lever.
Huh.
You just said it. That'd be perfect, right? You just
It would be.
And you have Yzma and Kronk there meeting, and they get to Kronk pulls the lever for your ice cream. No, that's actually a good tip for the cruise line, so you can maximize your ice cream soft serve intake. Is don't fill up a full cone every time.
Absolutely, and then you can also bring your own little bowls. We have done that.
Yep.
Because they do not have them there for you.
Yeah, you'd have to go and grab a cup from the drink stations.
We
which are
have
right
done
around the
that.
corner. Yeah.
So I am so excited to do that with my parents.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun trip.
Yep.
All right, next. I think we covered that, right? Because you had your app. You had your
My
everything.
dessert is soft serve.
Okay. Well, now you get to choose one from James. You can either add a 7th song to Cosmic Rewind every single month. It expires at the end of the month, though, right? And then you pick a new one.
Right.
Or you get to add a new menu item every month to any restaurant of your choice.
I would not do that. You would. I could see you doing that.
Yeah.
I would like to do Cosmic Rewind because I would do different songs. And I don't even know, but I would just pick back to basically what I grew up listening to, like the 80s, and just get a good song and not these other ones I don't like.
It's time. It's time for new songs.
Yeah.
I think. And at this point, here's the deal. I understand that apparently they went through hundreds of songs, right? And the way that they fit with the ride and this and that, to me personally, no single song out of the 6 has any wow moment that's like, wow, this beat or this lyric or this anything hit at the perfect time. So I think most things could work, right?
The only thing to me is the wow factor is literally when we blast off backwards and conga comes on or one way or another.
Those do
like
fit. I think the energy.
Yes. And then I'm so excited. And then it's like, but the other, like it takes a second where I'm like, wait, is this the song I like? And then I'm like, oh wait, no, it's not.
I would love to see what it would look like with the You Spin Me Right Round song. Yeah. Like while you're literally spinning around, right? Mm-hmm. Life is a Highway. Like I'm trying to think of all these. I wish that they would update some songs.
Yeah.
You know, and not do the Christmas thing that they did, because that obviously did not work very well for anybody, because they didn't do it again. Yeah, I guess I would pick the dish.
And I mean, why do you have to like supposedly make it fit? It doesn't. Any song fit. That's
what I think.
You're literally like, the whole point to me. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but Peter Quill listens to all this music.
Yeah.
So just like if you go to work out, if you go to clean your house, if you go and you put on Spotify and you like songs, you put on Spotify, it doesn't have to go like, oh, I'm doing this mop, you know, and you has to go along with it.
Yeah, not to the beat, but there's certain playlists that go with certain things that you do in life.
Get that.
You know
but
at
the same time, I don't feel like most people would get off the ride if it was
Wind Beneath My Wings.
Okay.
So, no,
like,
what I'm saying, I agree with you. I do
like,
not think the song is as detrimental to the ride as Disney or maybe some other people are making it out
correct.
to be. Yes, you're not going to put Wind Beneath My Wings on Cosmic Rewind.
Right, because then it's a slow. You don't put slow songs on.
You're not going to hear
any fast song.
Yeah, you're not going to hear Life is a Highway and get off like, well, that was stupid. It didn't fit anything. No, you're going to be like, that was awesome.
Right.
That was a highway, and I was flying through it.
Right.
So I think there's so many opportunities there. Yeah. But yeah, I would definitely pick the dish.
Of course you would.
Especially if it's like the restaurant of my choice. It's not even just one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
so let's just.
Oh, why are you going to ask me that? I'm trying to think. Because I was just in the back of my head, like, what if I had to pick one, like, right
just
now?
Just one restaurant. Say, Three Bridges, because that's our favorite. So Three Bridges.
Okay, you know they have the new the new chicken patacon that's there, which is delicious. It's like shredded chicken and all this type of stuff on a tostone, a mashed fried plantain. They did something very, very similar that I was watching on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives last night that they also did for the festival favorite, which was that it's basically a patacon sandwich.
Ooh.
So it's your two mashed and fried plantains as a sandwich in between. And so you put in there the chicken and the avocado and the slaw or whatever. You know, you do
really
you
good.
could have actually sandwiches there of different styles.
Okay,
I think that would be pretty cool there. So like that would probably be maybe my first pick.
Okay.
I remember years and years ago when the food truck scene was it was really starting kind of worldwide, I guess, especially in the United States, and it had just come to the Jacksonville area. Mm-hmm. I cannot remember the name of the truck. It was something Aviator, but do you remember we got those little sliders that had tostone plantain buns, and they were filled with shredded pulled pork.
Going way back.
This is going back probably close to a decade. I believe we got them at the
how do
boat
you remember
show.
Crap like that?
Yeah, I believe we got them at the boat show.
Oh, yeah. That's incredible.
I do remember stuff like that, but I couldn't remember what this question was when we started. So, all right, let's move on to Brandon. Says, if you could come up with a character, this is a good one, and this is a hard one that I have not thought about. So maybe you have. If you could come up with a character dining concept in any park, which characters, and what restaurant does it replace? Actually, you know what? We talked about this before. I would love to see a Prince character dining. We have princess ones, right?
Right.
I would love to see the ones with the princes, you know?
Like?
And well, everybody from, I don't know, Kristoff to Eric, you know, like, I mean, just let's give us the princes. Mm-hmm. And where that goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think obviously it would fit best in Magic Kingdom. And I don't know why you couldn't do
both the
princesses
princesses
at Cinderella Royal Table.
Right.
So you have a princess time and you have a prince time, or
they come
you do a
together.
combination of the two.
Because you have them on the parade floats.
Yeah.
So why can't they come
and you
around?
can meet them at some of the after hours together. Otherwise, you don't get to meet them together.
Yeah.
You meet Ariel. You don't meet Ariel and Eric.
Unless
you
it's
meet
an after party
right.
or
you meet Elsa and Anna.
Halloween.
You don't meet Anna and Kristoff.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Or, of course, it's not there yet. If we do not get a villain's character dining in Villain's Land,
oh Lord,
what are we doing?
Yeah, I agree.
In Maleficent's castle.
Yeah.
I think that's the one, right?
I hope so.
Do you have anything else you would do? What about what would you do one with the 7 dwarves, all 7 of them? They each come by your table.
At Artist Point? No.
Yeah, one sneezes on your table.
Ew.
One falls asleep. One of them's just mad that he's there, right?
He already comes around.
Right. One's just, he doesn't know he's there. He's like, I don't know
Dopey.
what I'm doing here. How many have we covered? Who are we left with?
Doc.
Doc. All right. Well, he comes and he's like,
Smart. And
what's that on your neck? You should have that checked out, right?
Is he a doctor?
I don't know. Who else do we have? I'll be honest. If there's any one major Disney IP that I know the least about, it's Snow White.
Yeah.
It really is. I just, it's not one of those films, IPs, anything that I've ever just been attracted to. I don't know why. I'm just not.
I get that.
You know?
I mean, I wasn't either. I don't know if it's as sad as this sounds, is because it's so old and she's sleeping and like, because I think of like, so is Cinderella, but I like Cinderella.
Yeah, but we like Cinderella a heck of a lot more because of the live action adaptation of it. Now, the Snow White live action adaptation they're doing is going to be leaps and bounds away from Snow. I'm not. I kind of wish they were being more true to the original classic and the way they did Cinderella in Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid. They expanded on them, but I feel like this one's going to go in a very, very different direction. We don't have 7 dwarves. We have 7 magical creatures. I think this one's going to do a really good job of empowering Snow White as a princess, which they've done with a lot of these, which I do think is very, very important. I just have a feeling this one's going to go in a direction we don't want, and a lot of that is because of everything that surrounded it. I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
I think I'd be more excited if it was going to be a little more true.
Soon?
I think it is coming soon here. Again, I don't even know that because I don't care. So I'm trying to think of any. See, the problem is with little known characters is they're little known characters. You know, like I think of having an entire. Oh, there we go. Let's go back to the question about adding a land or adding a country. What if we go with Greece and we go with Hercules?
Yeah.
Right? So you have Hercules. You
have that live
Meg.
action.
Yeah. You've got Pain and Panic, right? You've got Phil. You've got Zeus. Like, you have all these characters that could fit into a dining experience or some sort of attraction, show, ride, whatever it may be.
Hades.
Yeah, that would be pretty. Yeah, Hades. Oh, my goodness. You're wearing a Hades shirt right now. We better get Hades in Villains Land.
Oh, yeah.
Who are the top 5 villains you want to see represented in Villains Land? Let's say, is Hades one of them? Right?
Yes.
Maleficent.
Yes.
Who else are you looking at? Evil Queen. I know, again, we don't care as much about the Evil Queen.
But I see
such a
her.
good character.
She is. And I see her because, first of all, she's at everything.
Yeah.
And she's at Artist Point.
Yep.
So I see her.
Ursula. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of some
Mother
of the other
Gothel.
That's what, like, you would want to see a Mother Gothel?
I think so.
Okay. So yeah, you have to think of, like, now I think they're going to expand beyond that. Gaston and, I think they're going to expand way beyond Yzma. I believe it's going to be a part of this villains stage show. Which I do believe is some research into Villains Land. What's the reaction when a Gaston comes on stage at this compared to an Yzma, compared to a Maleficent, an Evil Queen, an Ursula, Hades, Scar? Like, what is the reaction? Because that's going to tell them what should go in Villains Land.
Yeah, that's true.
The fact that I love Emperor's New Groove in Yzma and Kronk doesn't mean they should put it anywhere in a park if the majority of people aren't interested in seeing that.
Right.
So, yeah, great question. I love that one. All right, we got 2 more here.
Kendall asked, if you could make Club 33 lounges in all 4 parks, where would they be located and how would they be themed? Well, I don't know. I just started saying, I don't know if you know this, Kendall, but we do have them in all 4 parks.
What is the theme?
We have never.
I was going to say
we have never been to any of them.
I mean, you've got Adventureland.
I believe they just did. Yeah,
you have Adventureland and Magic Kingdom.
Done.
Yep. I don't know. I assume it's adventure themed inside.
Ditto.
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know if they're all themed to more of just an elegant upscale environment or if they're themed to that land. You have it at Epcot. You have it back there in the American Pavilion in the old Visa Chase Lounge.
That's
upstairs, right.
I remember that. I've seen that.
In Hollywood Studios, it is upstairs in the Hollywood Brown Derby area.
Oh, okay.
And then in Animal Kingdom, they actually specifically built that building over to the walkway as you go from Pandora into Africa.
Yep.
For me, I would... See, it's hard because you don't want to get rid of the Castle Suite because it is used a lot for... Make-A-Wish and give kids the... I mean, so you don't want to get rid of that,
100%.
but I do think something in Cinderella Castle would just be mind-blowing.
Do you think they have... Okay, like... Do you think they have the room? Like, what else do you think is in Cinderella?
I don't know.
Do you think Cinderella's castle is... got a lot of space in there?
I have no idea. Probably not.
Or... is it a facade?
I think most of it's a facade. You have first level is walkthrough. Second level is
really that
Cinderella
second
Royal
level,
Table.
because
Right, that's what I'm
underneath-
saying. Well, don't. Okay, that's all. We're not doing that right now. And I think really by the time, I don't know what would be considered that third level-ish area, but I believe by the time you get to about the 4th, because of the perspective, the forced perspective, is where you have the Castle Suite. So I don't know if there's something in between Royal Table, Castle Suite that could fit in there. If anybody has schematics of Cinderella Castle, then I'm sure they know. Over at Epcot, I think Spaceship Earth would have been perfect, but they're putting in the lounge there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're putting in the Spaceship Earth lounge there. So, but I think that could have been a cool idea. And do it a little bit a la Space 220. With the windows and all. Mm-hmm. If you were to go over to Hollywood Studios, I think
I like the Brown Derby part.
I think that's really cool.
That is cool. I mean, again, we've never been to any of these.
I'd go Star Wars. I'd do something within Galaxy's Edge. I mean, whatever they do with the Star Cruiser could certainly incorporate some portion of a Club 33 lounge in there. And then over at Animal Kingdom, I don't know where you would put it there. I mean, if you weren't doing a show in the Tree of Life, you put it in there, or go back to my thought of putting in a Zootopia where Rafiki's Planet Watch is, and you have a Zootopia themed Club 33. You got to get on a train. You got to go out there. Like, I think that could be pretty cool.
I think so, but then you got to think too. Sometimes, like the people that have the money to be able to do this, do they really want to do that?
No, they probably don't want any of those ideas. I would. If I had the money, I would be like, Disney me up. Like, let's make this, let's have a frickin' Andy's Room Club 33 lounge over in Hollywood Studios in Toy Story Land, right? Like, I would just get stupid with it. But, if I had that amount of money, though, I'd be like, well, you should do what I want. So let's bring Kronk and Yzma. I'm Club 33, y'all. All right. Last question. I love this one. This is from Drew over on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. If your worst enemy asked for Disney advice, what would you tell them?
What would you tell them?
Well, again,
first of all, do we have a worst enemy?
I have so many. No, I don't.
Which is nice to be able to say.
It is nice. I do not have any enemies, but if I did,
I would
keep them.
hate
If I did, I would
anybody.
keep them close.
Yeah,
Right.
of course.
Remember, if you're all of a sudden listening to this is the opposite of what we would tell people we like. Okay, so don't take this and be like, why are they telling us to do that? Don't use a travel agent, right? Don't even bother with lightning lanes or anything. Don't do any advanced dining reservations, right? Don't research. Make sure you have tiny kids and don't even pay attention to what height restrictions are. Just tell them, hey, every ride you're going to be able to get on it, right? And then they'll be disappointed when you get
the saddest part is that this is probably like some people like this is
a lot of people. That's how they do Disney.
Yeah.
They don't know any better, but it's not because their worst enemy told them.
Right. It's just Disney has changed so much, and I mean I've told people like clients all this time, like people will tell me, oh, I haven't been to Disney in like 10, 15 years, and I'm like, oh God, I'm like.
Yeah.
You can't just go anymore.
Yeah, they think they'll show up the way they did 10, 15 years ago, right?
I mean...
Let's do it this way, okay? Worst enemy. What resort are you telling them to stay at? So, I don't know. The Holiday Inn at Disney Springs. No, I'm kidding. I do want to say, we did have somebody comment on Facebook about that Holiday Inn, that they had tacked on some time to a trip. I can't remember if they said it was their sister or friend had points that they used.
Okay.
They got vouchers for breakfast for free, but said they would not have paid that amount.
Oh, yeah.
And they had a perfectly fine stay there.
Good.
So again, I want to put that out there because our word is not, the end all be all, obviously. We just like to share our experience, but we also like to share experiences that may be positive because we know that everybody's can be different.
And ours could be different the next time we stay.
It could. We could stay there again and it could be absolutely wonderful.
Correct.
It's like we've talked about with restaurants. If you have a not great experience at one,
it's hard.
There are so many other places to go.
Right.
It's hard to go back to that one. So, with that being said, is there a specific Disney resort? I mean, I would only say the All-Stars just because they only have bus service. They're a little bit further away, right? What restaurant would you tell them to go to?
See, and then my brain almost thinks like, I'd tell them to stay at like the Polynesian, the bungalows, because that's a lot of money.
Act like that's all there is.
I mean,
be like, yeah, that's pretty. And to enjoy Disney, you got to stay in the bungalows, otherwherwise, don't go.
Right.
And then you're just
like making them spend all
this
this money.
Right?
Yeah.
What ride? Do Mission Space Orange. You guys will love it. Right? Tell them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you know they have motion sickness, I got a long list of rides I would recommend for them, starting with Cosmic Rewind. Restaurant.
No, I mean starting with Cosmic Rewind, I'm okay with. So that would not be. It'd be starting with Mission Space Orange.
What I'm trying to think of a restaurant. I tell them to go get the fried chicken at Homecoming. I promise I'm not going to drag that one on forever. Like
please don't, because
I can't wait to go back and get it. Honestly, I'm excited to go back and get it and see if it's like the Holiday Inn at Disney Springs, right?
Yeah.
Because we had so many other people say how much they love the fried chicken there.
Yeah.
So
and didn't a whole bunch of people send pictures too? And like,
well, John sent me like a dozen, and yes, other people posted ones, and it was when you just got a big plate of fried. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But I will say this: I was doing some notes, and for whatever reason, I had to look up 50s primetime in their fried chicken. You can tell what every piece on that plate is, and then it's got bones in every single piece. So, I would tell them, Yeah, I guess I would go there. See, we haven't been to Monsieur Paul since they changed, but of course we had an awful experience there, but everybody else has had wonderful experiences.
Correct.
So yeah, if you really want your enemy to have the worst time, though, just tell them not to use a travel advisor. But if you want them to have the best, if you want them to have the best trip ever,
yes,
that's probably one of the best segues that I just ruined by pointing it out. You use Amy and MEI-Travel.
Yes.
But yeah, that's it for this round of questions. We do have a couple fun episodes coming up, and then we've got another trip in 2 weeks. We'll be staying at Stella Nova over at Universal.
Ooh.
And we're going to answer the age-old, because we've never done it this way.
Correct.
We have stayed at Disney, and we've gone to Universal. We have stayed at Universal, and we've gone to Disney. But we've never done an entire weekend staying at Universal and specifically going to Disney.
Correct.
So we're going to see if the cost savings of staying at one of these new Stella resorts is worth it.
Yes.
To go to Disney still.
Yep.
So we'll let you guys know. We got that coming up. Of course, we got Disneyland. The countdown is on. Lucy and I have to really get together soon and talk about our ADRs.
You have our plane tickets.
We've got our plane tickets.
We have
our park tickets. We've got our resort. Of course, all this thanks to Amy and MEI-Travel.
Absolutely.
We have everything but our ADRs, to be honest. And then, of course, as we get closer, we'll look at the lightning lanes.
We've already started
because I got to look at their whole. Yeah,
Yep.
we started putting money aside. So super duper excited for that. Of course, if you want to get all the stuff coming up and that Disneyland trip, not only do you want to make sure that you're following us on socials at Main ST Magic, but you also want to make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And if you are ready for that next trip, of course, no matter where you want to go, our trusted partner, MEI-Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today. And of course, as long as you're out there, we would be super duper thankful if you could please leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home.